good morning, good afternoon, good day. Ciao,
Mm.
Bella. How you doing? It's another day of Way Chill Living, and I'm Rachel Lotto,
And I'm
and
Kim
I'm with,
Mellon.
yeah, we got our beautiful Kim here with us. Wow, things are happening fastly, quickly, crazy. I know I say that every time, but it's true. It's true. Just a little catch up for you all. I wanted to let you all know that I am doing a monthly meditation every second Tuesday of the month. You can log on and join us via Zoom. I'll send you a Zoom link. I'd love to do that. It's Divine Love Meditation every Tuesday. And you can also check me out on Enlightened World Network. I always do a meditation every now and then with them as well. And my little thing I wanted to stick a plug in for is that I have, of course, always updated my website, waychilllife.com, and some great blogs and writings because we love our other authors. In a few weeks, we're going to have Yvette Kinchin come in and talk about her book, True Love, Not Like in the Movies, as well as I'm participating in an awesome organization called Heal.me. You can check heal.me out if you need anything from a chiropractor to a Reiki healer. They have all kinds of great modalities on there, including moi. So that's just a little housekeeping, just to tell everybody what's going on. Just checking in on you, Kim. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing well. I don't have any extracurricular spiritual activities other than my own meditation. but
Hey, that's enough. I mean, just the fact that you are doing something to keep yourself moving forward
yeah.
is really all that anyone could ask for. So,
Mm.
all right, I just had to do a little double check there, and I'm pretty happy to see that we are live on Facebook right now. So, we're getting our technical stuff figured out, everybody. So, stick with us.
Hmm.
All right, so today's topic. Free will, divine will, God's will, your will, divine chaos. What's going on here? Actually, this is a kind of a crazy, creepy time to be talking about this because, well, we know that the planet is not happy in its current state. And I do mean it is not happy in its current state. The planet is at dis-ease with human beings, and human beings are at dis-ease with the planet.
Mm-hmm.
And we can see this everywhere. It's very obvious because in this point in time, there is a massive heat wave going on. There's some strange waves in Hawaii. I mean, really, the earth is going, hey, we just
Sea,
got
lion,
together, and now
sea lions
you're
chasing
going
people
back.
off the beach.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The sharks are back. So
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, when we talk about God's will and free will,
Mm-hmm.
we have to first of all understand that God's will is your will. I know that's not what they tell you at church or on the TV with the beautiful ministers. But from my understanding and my research and studying a lot of different religions, I understand that when we're a soul and we're just that beautiful, angelic, that we are, and we're up in heaven and we're feeling all happy and chilling, and we're like, you know what I want? I want some lavender honey ice cream. And you're up in heaven and they're like, yeah, there's no such thing. And then you're up in heaven and you're like, you know what I want? I want a really big warm hug. You know what I want? I want to go stand under a waterfall. You know what I want? I want some chocolate molten cake. And so you start thinking all these things you want when you're up in heaven, and everything is perfect. It's sparkly and amazing. There's no money, there's no food, there's nothing to want for. Everything is just super fantastic. And they're like, yeah, but all these things you want, they don't exist up here. They don't happen. And so You have to
Yeah.
go down to earth to experience honey lavender ice cream and hot chocolate molten cake and beautiful waterfalls that you actually can feel. So we decide, we want to go to earth. And so we go to earth. And before we come down and we're this sparkly, perfect soul without sin, we are a perfect, sparkly being. And we have nothing to do but want to experience. And so we said to God before we came down, or source, or creator, or all, whatever you call. And we said, all right, this is what I want to do. So we make a contract with Source. And this contract is kept in the Akashic Records. And the Akashic Records, like we've said before, is that giant iCloud in the sky that records all of your fantastic experiences through all of your lives, through all dimensions, through all time, through all space. I know it's a lot of recording. And so here we read our record with God and we said, you know what? I want to try some honey lavender ice cream. And I want to, really enjoy my life. I
Mhm.
want to have fun. Let's see, in this lifetime, I don't think I want children. I think I want a dog instead. I think I want to take care of some land. Oh, wait, I'm telling you about my life. Okay. So you plan your life and you set out some basic goals of what you would like to achieve. You don't plan your will of every day. You don't plan your will of every moment.
I
But
wait. I have to ask you about that sin.
well,
Because then it's a matter of karma, right? Karma is something that uh, we feel the uh, oh gosh, brain fart. What we did in a past life, we feel the repercussions in this life. So could that be what like a contract is, for example, is that if we've done something in a lifetime and we come, and we decide that we want to rectify that, so we want to pay for it in a certain way, could that be sin? What is considered sin, as in coming in with sin, not original sin, but to make amends for something in the past, something that
I'm
we
going to
decide for
say
ourselves.
I understand your perspective, and I think that
Okay.
you are correct that
Mm.
people think karma is sin.
Mm. Or
And
I say sin only. I say that in quotation.
right, right,
Mhm.
right. And I'm saying that I think you're right that that's a perspective
Mhm.
of many churches and of many different beliefs
Mm.
that what we have done in our past life, good or bad, comes
Mhm.
forward with us with different energies. And so, yeah, yeah, I see where you could get that as part of a sin thing,
Mm.
but karma's not always understood that way
Mhm.
because you could have curses that and
Mhm. Mhm.
spells that have come forward with you,
Mhm.
and that's not necessarily sin.
Right.
And when we use the word sin, we
Mhm.
are judging.
Mhm. Well,
Pow! There
when
it
I
is. We're not supposed to judge. God doesn't judge us. So,
okay, but when I say sin, I'm using that word because that's the word we started with. But what I mean is something of us deciding ourselves to rectify something from our past. So atoning
that's
for something,
archetype.
more like atonement really than, you understand what I mean? Atonement, but I'm not calling
Still,
it.
atonement would be saying that you did something wrong.
Yeah, but sometimes we do even in lifetime, even in life here, we sometimes do wrong to others and know it and then atone for it. Do you understand what I mean?
Right, and that's
Or
because
in the sense
if you
wrong.
atone for it, then that means that you are forgiven because there is no right or wrong, we just learn lessons.
Mhm.
I'm trying to really shake you up here. I'm
Yeah,
trying to really I know that you want
I
me to
know what you.
understand
Uh-huh.
that we come with baggage. How's that?
Yeah,
We
but I
come
mean,
from the baggage.
I,
Okay, here we go. The word sin came from an archery term, missing the mark. Oh, thank you, Prince.
I'm
Okay.
thank
Uh,
you.
so again, It was a way for humans to describe. Um, this is
Yeah.
where it gets
Yeah.
this is where it gets hard, is because it is like baggage that we carry from a
Mhm.
past life. Let's take the example of like Hitler. Okay, that's an
Uh,
easy one to say, all right, he didn't do the best things in the whole world, right?
mhm.
So his archetype, right? He went into heaven because there
Mhm.
is only heaven, and he went into hospital heaven, and for all I know, he's still maybe stuck in hospital heaven, where they have to deprogram you and make you see what you had not done along the lines of, first of all, what your will was, and second
Mhm.
of all, of what was for the highest good of the whole planet, right?
Mhm.
And so Hitler would have a lot of atoning to do, or a lot of karma, right?
Mhm.
Right. So when he came back, his archetype or his lessons that he has to learn are probably going to be back, at the beginning or at the start. So he may come back as everything from bugs. He may not actually be able to get into a human form again, or he may come back as maybe I don't want to say a monk, because I don't want to say because that to me is a beautiful experience, but
Mhm.
something where uh,
It
maybe
depends.
he was maybe he was a
It's
child in poverty without food.
yeah.
He's stuck at the border right now
Mhm.
as a 2-year-old separated from his parents.
Mhm.
Um, maybe now there's mass suffering for
Okay.
him.
So I guess, all right. What I'm talking about is basically the golden rule. Is that anything that we do to others that we would not wish done to ourselves, and I'm not going to call it sin, but it's like, okay, and one doesn't even have to feel great shame or guilt about it. It's just that, well, I know I did a crappy thing. Let me make that better. Do you understand
You
what I mean?
know, what I find interesting is that you and I can talk about that feeling, but the really ugly personalities that
That's true.
create these
Hmm.
monstrous things
Hmm.
don't have
Don't have
guilt.
those feelings. Right, right, right,
They
right.
don't have guilt. They
Mhm.
don't have. I mean, sometimes
Conscious.
it is
Yeah.
a chemical thing within your brain that they're
Yeah.
they're totally disconnected, which again is while they're here on earth is to learn compassion.
Mm.
I myself have realized that when I get sick, I get disconnected as well,
Hmm.
and I become "Arr," and everybody can
Yeah.
just see my why. I remember when I used to work at the Hard Rock at parties, and people would know when I was in a mood, and they would just run from me.
Mm.
So, but it's because all of a sudden I got disconnected from my compassion.
Hmm.
I got disconnected from a consciousness, and
Right.
instead, I got into the human ego. I got into my
Hmm.
own, I'm
Yeah.
the greatest
That
thing
is.
since sliced bread. That's not really the right answer.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to, when you even watch documentaries about um, murderers, some of them still have no guilt. They have no
That's true.
feeling.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what Earth
Hmm.
is for us to come together with the will of God. Okay,
Oh
again,
my
I'm
God,
going.
that's the perfect segue to divine chaos. I have an idea about that.
It is divine chaos, right? So
Oh.
we all come down with a plan that we made, and
Hmm.
then sometimes we get disconnected from that plan, right? So the
Yeah.
plan that we made, you can see it in your hands in the palmistries, and you can see it up in the
Good morning.
stars. Oh, Canella's here too. Yay. Oh, here we go. Let's see. What does Prince have to say? In
Mm.
Robert Schwartz's book, Your Soul Contract, we travel at least 17 soul family members. I thought it was 13. This said 17. Okay. We come back each time, changing the roles, learning all perspectives that gives us the understanding of the whole. I
Mm,
call that 17 archetypes or
mhm,
13 archetypes. You know, you got to be the
mhm.
wealthy
Thank you, Gwen.
person, the hierophant, the philosopher, the inventor, the creator, the hero, right? Right. So we come on earth and we get to experience all these different types of lives.
Mhm,
And we have to know that the free will allowed Hitler to become Hitler.
mhm,
Okay.
mhm,
So I think maybe Hitler was supposed to be a politician, but maybe not a nasty, ugly one.
mhm,
So when we have this planet, this awesome space of everything to experience,
mhm,
we have a choice. And this choice doesn't exist anywhere else. And so
mhm.
we can choose not just, and a side note here, capitalism is not free will. Capitalism is just bullshit. I'm calling it out as it is.
Mhm,
It's to separate. It's to annihilate the
mhm,
planet. I see no redeeming graces in capitalism. I
mhm.
don't. Um,
I'm with
you
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 there.
we don't need 50 different types of potato chips. We don't need 50
Goodness
different
gracious.
types of
Mhm.
sodas, or 17 seasons of clothing
Oh,
to keep the sales up for retail, right?
yeah,
That's capitalism.
yes.
That's what people think free choice is.
Or bottled water. Oh my God, people. You know.
So, free
Oh.
choice actually is you choosing what it is, um, that you want to do, right? Do you
Mm,
want to stick with your plan? And I am pointing to your palm because
mhm,
your plan is written in your DNA. It's on your palm. It's also there's a guide up in the stars. It's called
mm,
astrology. They're just guides.
mm,
They're just guides, right? Okay, so we have this plan that we made with God because we are co-creator with God, you know, God right here in our heart.
mhm.
So we chose together what we wanted to experience. And so we came down to earth. And so we're on our happy little path and we're doing our thing. And then all of a sudden, we get hit by a drunk driver because somebody used their free will to go get hammered in the afternoon. Shit. That's what's happening right now. Everybody has their free will, and we're in chaos because everybody wants to do what they want to do. And we are so covered in fear, in ego, in victimhood, in lacking that we're going to go without something, that we don't have the newest Gucci belt, or we don't have something to eat on our plate, on our food because the prices have gone up so much. It's this game that we're being tricked. Okay. And so we get attacked here in our brainstem. We get attacked in the food that we eat. That's not, you know, it's not healthy for us. It's been over processed and things have been added that we don't know. We're using baby talc powder and we're inhaling it and we're giving ourselves cancer. Okay. This is free will. And this is free chaos. And so here you and I are, we're like, but I want to stay on my divine path. I want to stay with God because I know that this is the time that we're going to elevate and we're going to make the world one.
Yeah,
And
but
we keep
um,
getting crushed, right?
well, I think that free will is fantastic, right? Free will is fantastic. We broke you and I were talking about, for example, the music of the 80s, how it became more I talked about that song, It's My Life, don't it's anyway, I'm not going to sing it. But any of you who've been around long enough, you know it. Um but so yes, it's our lives to do with as we will, and we can do what we want. But I think what's missing is that we forget we are in service to one another and the planet. We have the freedom to do that however we want, but it must be for the good of. It can't just be for me, and I must express myself. That's the
Exactly.
lesson that
Perfectly said. Perfectly said. So that goes directly into what is divine chaos.
Mm,
So you and I want to stay on our path of compassion and love.
mm.
And we are trying to live in a non judgmental, self governing way.
Yeah, and I mess that up all the freaking time, but good.
Yeah, I do this because
Yeah,
I'm
I know,
really
right?
judgmental. I'm really sorry. I'm learning, I'm practicing, I'm
Yes.
trying. I'm
Oh.
trying, but I'm
Mhm.
really judgmental. I'm opinionated.
Mm,
Okay, but I'm trying. All right. So, as for myself, I do believe there are divine points that are set in our life for us to experience that we choose. Exactly. Exactly. So, there's this really cool group of angelic beings. They're called the Dominions. They are the third choir. They're part of the first chorus, the first section of angelic beings, and they're the third choir, a chorus singing. And their whole thing is to make sure that your web of life, that your choice of what you want, you stay on your path, that you get to experience the points, just like Prince just said, that they're
mm,
divine points in our life, that you get to experience those situations that are outlined on your hand or in the stars, even though people around you have gone off their path and may try to bop you
mm,
or get you off of your path. I've been calling it divine chaos because we can choose to create anything, to go do anything at any time, but there is an order of angelic beings that work directly with God to allow the rest of us to stay on our pathway. We
mm,
might get we might get sidestepped or booted over a little, like I said with that car accident, you might get into a car accident, but then you might heal quickly, you might meet new people out of it, you might get unexpected money from it, something positive may come out of it,
mhm,
and that's just because maybe that car accident wasn't part of what you were supposed to really experience, and it was pain from somebody else's problems. So that's why sometimes if you ever get hurt and you can heal yourself quickly, or it really wasn't that bad of a hurt, it
mm,
should have been more. Well, it wasn't, you weren't meant to really experience that. You weren't really supposed to have to be pain and suffering. God doesn't want us to have to be in pain and suffering anymore. We are supposed to be in total joy. We are
mhm.
supposed to really be experiencing working together with each other. And right now, we are in the mega storm of divine chaos. And there's not a battle of good versus evil, but there is a battle of divine will.
Mm,
And
yeah.
the higher ups are going to make sure that God's will always take place on this planet. Unfortunately for us, that could mean that if the planet stays at its rate of being disconnected from each other, that she's going to get really pissed off. And she's going to really start to shake the fleas off of her back. And where are the fleas?
We're the we're the slaves.
Those of us who, when they say like the meek will inherit the earth, no, 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 no. Those who stay on their will, stay in love, stay with God in their path, that's who will be left to clean up the mess of what's going to be left after massive natural disasters. I mean, you think we've been through some natural disasters. It's nothing what's coming. And I say this freely because I have survived Katrina. I was there for Hurricane Katrina. I was there for some pretty big ass earthquakes in California. I'm seeing what these natural disasters and these fires are just the tip of the iceberg, and the lack of water.
Mm.
What is happening
I'll
is
tell you.
that
Okay.
because so many more people are now discombobulated, and they are choosing to allow the ego to they're choosing to allow fear, they're choosing anxiety. We had this glimpse during COVID where we really were on the right path again. We really were choosing each other and we were healing each other. And the
Mhm.
planet was like at 75% expanded to the fifth dimension. And we were really like, we were on the way. And then, oh,
'Cause a lot
man,
of fear was
then
introduced.
humans came back to being
Fearful.
fearful and wretched again.
Fearful and fighting. I guess 'cause a scared animal is a vicious animal, you know?
Yes, and it was like it's like they got too close to love, they
Uh-huh.
got too close to the sun and their wings melted and
Mhm.
then they got fearful and now we went back. Um, those of us who have stepped into the higher dimensions, you're there. But the world itself right now is in massive divine chaos. And the only way out of it is for people to choose themselves and to choose love. There's not I asked, I'm like, can we just do a giant meditation? Can we go donate? Can we go give to
Mm.
somebody? What can we do? And they said, well, you got to get people to love who they are.
Yes,
And
and
when they love and respect who they are,
Mhm.
and you understand that this divine love is for everyone, well, then you can still have your beautiful Gucci bags and you can have your wonderful foods and everything,
Yeah,
but then
yeah.
everybody gets it.
Yeah, I tend to think divine love would make you want to love the Gucci bag you already have. But you were talking about natural disasters and okay, I live somewhere where there are hurricanes every now and again. But the last hurricane that I was there for, they reported that the island was wiped out. Of course the island was not wiped out, but it was a bad hurricane and it included tornadoes, right? Now, my brother was visiting us at the time, and he was terrified. For me, it was an adventure. For my husband, who was from where we were living, um, it was just another thing. Um, but there was okay. The place is Bermuda. Let me just say, a little island in the middle of the Atlantic, and it is another world because Bermudians handle tornadoes like the rest of us handle hard rain. So um, it's to show that even with all that chaos, even with that mass destruction from Mother Nature, if you remain who you are through it, then you'll get through it. You'll get through it without all the panic. I mean, a lot of panic. Katrina was horrific because we all watched that from wherever we were on the planet. But there was also a lot of fear and hate and just people unleashing their demons through and demons aren't necessarily to me like the killer demons, but fear is a demon also. Fear and pity and shame and all of that loss. So I don't know why I mentioned that story
But
then,
that was
except to say
perfect
that yeah, it all depends on what spirit you have in you to handle the chaos, the storm.
because the best thing is that after these massive natural disasters,
Hmm.
I have witnessed it and I think you've witnessed it too. People
Hmm.
come together.
Yeah, no.
And that's why nature goes kaboom,
Hmm.
because she knows the only way that we will work together is in extreme situations.
Basically, yes, it's like
So,
come together or be thrown asunder or will destroy you. That is nature really true. Nature has a fury.
divine chaos. She is going to teach us to love each other and get together one way or another. And if that means that she's going to blow up certain areas, knock things out, then that's what she's going to do for us to come together as a
Mhm.
whole. And it starts with just the individual, which is so mind blowing to me that if we just love ourselves, love.
Are taught that we're worthy of it, that we are worthy of it, because if we're not worthy of it, um, then how do we love anything else? If we don't think we're worthy of love, how do we truly love, unselfishly love anything else? You
See,
know,
you got it. So wonderful conversation. Oh, well, have a beautiful yoga
we're
session.
yoga prince.
Thank you for coming, Prince.
Okay.
But
Bye.
the whole thing is that when we can choose love, and sometimes it feels like it's the harder thing to do. I know, I get it. But the divine chaos is going to make sure that those who truly love will always get that divine moment, will always be taken care of, will always be on their higher path. And you're right. I shouldn't have used the example of the Gucci bag, but I was
Oh,
doing
no,
it
no,
to
no.
make the
Mhm,
whole idea that my golden dream of a free society
mhm.
does not eliminate individuality, and
Oh,
that's how I look at Gucci, is that it
yeah,
makes you as an individual person because
yeah.
it's your
Mhm,
style, it's your thing, right?
mhm.
So I believe that we are always going to be that individual that we are, but it's when we learn to love our individuality, to
Mhm.
love who we are, that we open the door to the rest of the community. And then you build a little small community, and we're going to have free society coming up here. And then we're going to learn that we really can expand so much further, so much greater as a human race when we ditch the money and we ditch the ego and we actually just want to create. Just
Mm.
create. Isn't that going to be an amazing time? I have to keep talking about it because I'm trying to see people to dream about free society because
We're
that's the only way it's
we're
going to happen.
we're in the beginnings of it now. We're in the beginnings of it now. So I don't even. It'll be even more wonderful when it washes over everything. But we're in the start of it now. We're already in it.
So
Mm,
God's will is going to happen to this planet no matter what we do.
mm.
Okay? And God's will is for us all to come together. And if that means that nature or
God's will being
or
absolute.
a leader decides to blow up a certain area, unfortunately, that's the only way that we're going to learn on a third dimensional planet. Because when we get to the other levels and we get to a higher consciousness, war just doesn't even make sense. You know, when we get to a higher consciousness, it just doesn't even make sense that we have people that are hungry on this planet. We have so much food. Look at
So
those
much.
flippin' grocery stores. Think about how much they just throw away that expires. You know, I mean, this misconception of our economy right now. How can we be going through a recession and the US dollar is the strongest of any money in the whole global world? I don't understand. I don't understand any of it. So, what I do understand is that when I sit in my truths and
Well,
I
okay.
can dream bigger, right? I'll
Hmm.
help the dominions keep everybody else on their path instead of creating more chaos. So I'm going to stick to my path because I don't want to add any more chaos to this world. I don't want to see another tsunami. I do not want to see another hurricane. New Orleans is a great example because we were talking about how New Orleans carries a heavy energy, and I believe it carries a heavy energy because where it sits on the Mississippi,
Hmm.
because shit rolls downhill.
Mm.
You got all of the shit, all of the anger, all of the ego from all of the United States, even a little bit of just rolling down that giant river and coming and settling right there. And so it just keeps building and building and building up anger and chaos down there. And it is true right now. New Orleans is not a place that I would recommend visiting at this point in time. I love New Orleans. I used to bleed black and gold, but there's way too much shooting going on there right now for me. So the chaos is going to go and clean it all up. I fear New Orleans will have another massive hurricane again. I don't know. I'm not here to predict. I'm please, nobody take any of these as predictions. I'm just telling you that I know that if we stay in love, if we stay on what it is that for our path of what we're supposed to do, and we get along with those around us, that we change the environment, that we can stop the divine chaos of, it's not going to be mass annihilation because humans have to exist. And again, I know that those of us who choose God's will or choose our will not be punished. Oh, that's a good word. All right, she's thinking heavy. And anybody else that's watching live right now, if you got a question or a comment, please feel free to post them. And, you know, this is truly my own opinion, but I really, really believe that we can put the whole world back into balance just by putting yourself back into balance. And I also know that nature is phenomenal, that it can undo whatever it has done right now. Because it's just awesome, right? Like if the whole world, like that Coca-Cola commercial, if we all just got up and held hands together and sang. Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe,
of course.
maybe we would change the environment, and maybe the heat wave would stop.
Well,
All
yes,
right.
yes, our energy contributes to what goes on in our own lives, so it must contribute to what goes on around us as well. As for our collective energy, of course.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. We do have a collective consciousness. And when
Mhm.
we raise that collective consciousness up a level to compassion, where we raise that collective consciousness up to loving itself, then it just kind of explodes through the whole planet. And I know I'm oversimplifying this, but if we go and make it too complicated, or if we look into the details of each Akashic record or what you did versus what I did, it
Which is where we
is,
are now. Yes. You
yeah,
know, that is the thing, and this is again using the word sin just as the word, not, you know, but it's like we all have our own stuff to clean up, you know. So you know, we should stop being so hard on others, all right? And maybe being hard on
judgment free.
well, yeah, I mean, the first thing, as we said, is stop judging ourselves. So, you know, we can recognize that we did something, you know, that's not great and say, okay, well, that happened. Can't turn back time. So let's move forward. Let's make it better and do it in joy because what's the point? Doing it in anger and shame or whatever is not going to make it prettier. It's not going to mend it pretty. You know what I mean? So do it in joy. So we do that for ourselves and we don't then we have less of a tendency to be mean and judgmental with others. So that's it. That's really simplifying it, but I think that is actually it's that basic. I think it's that basic from my own personal experience. I think it's that basic because
It
whenever I'm
is.
hardest on others, it's because I'm hard on myself about something. You know.
It's true. I myself find myself repeating things over and over in my head. And I remember something that happened 10 years ago, 20 years ago,
Thank you,
and
Rev. Mhm.
it digs into me. And then I realize, wait a minute, they don't remember it. I don't, what am I doing living in that? I got to
Mhm.
let that go.
Mhm.
Oh, what did Canella have to say? We are the wholeness in this earth. Be our authentic selves of love and light. Wonderfully said, Canella. Thank you. And that is, I guess that's what our message today is you have free will. You have the ability to choose this planet. You had the ability to choose this life. You have the ability to choose every breath you take. Divine will is, or God's will, or your will, is the contract that you made as an angelic soul when you came down on this planet to whatever the main things that you wanted to experience, along with all the joy.
Mhm.
We get to be here on this plane, and we have helpers called the Dominions and a choir of the angelic realm that helps us stay on our path so that we get to have what we plan for ourselves, what joy we want to experience. Divine chaos is what happens when people choose the free will, and it's Mother Nature at work. It's when Mother Nature decides that this forest is going to have to go. So, unfortunately, she may inspire someone to light a fire. It's the divine chaos that says, all right, humans, you are not getting along with one another. You're not figuring this out. So we're going to make things more difficult on you. And that's what's happening. Our water supply, what Hoover Dam has had some issues. You know, how can a planet of water be short of water? I don't understand that.
I'm laughing because it's like when we were kids anyway, when I was a kid, and your parents would say, "Do you want me to give you something to cry about?" Like if you were carrying on and you're like, and your parents like, "Do you want me to give you something to cry?"
My dad used to say, "Where does it hurt?" And I'll go step on the other toe.
It's like, I'm not saying that's great parenting, from a child's standpoint, but it's like that. It's like, oh, Mother Nature's like, oh yeah, don't start none, won't be none. But
That's exactly what's about to go down.
it's so silly, but yeah.
It is. And what the joy though is that we were able to be silly about it.
Yeah.
And I am going to just say this, when we choose ourselves, when we choose this love, it changes. We are not stuck. We can change
Mhm.
overnight.
Yeah.
So pay it
That's
forward. Be
Mhm.
kind. Love one another.
Love
Laugh a
yourself.
little. Go
Love.
see that movie Thor and Love
Oh,
and Light and
Love and Thunder.
Love and Thunder and giggle and laugh because it's a rom-com. It's silly. That's what
I don't know what it's about. Don't be talking.
I know, but that's what comic
Oh,
books are about.
mm,
Comic
oh,
books.
oh,
We got a little dark with them with the
mhm.
whole Batman and Joker, and we don't need to see the evil side of humanity. We can just turn on the news for that.
Well, actually, that's why I stopped reading Stephen King. I'd read 13 Stephen King books, and Stephen King is, very a good writer in that it really brings you into his world. But then I thought something in my head just said, you know what? I don't need this in my psyche, and I stopped. So as much as I appreciate the talent that goes into it, I feel, do we really need this just because we can make it and read it? My feeling is no.
And
That's my
that's why the angels tell me zombies and demons and Dracula only exists on this planet. It
feeling.
doesn't exist anywhere else.
Mm,
I did get to see my first. Uh, it wasn't a monster, but what was different about it is that it wasn't perfect sacred geometry. It
mhm,
was organic shaped,
mhm,
and it kind of actually reminded me of the new photographs that came out from the in the NASA.
mm,
Anyway,
mm, mhm,
to understand that again, we can't judge what the appearances of things are, that
mhm,
we have to just be compassionate, judgment free, and step forward,
mm,
because when we step forward there are things that may have looked odd, but then when you get into it, it's nothing but love.
mm,
So step out of your own fear, step into your light, and you know what, get help. That's something that I'm gonna close today out with is get help when you can't find happiness.
mm,
Go talk to a therapist. Go find, if you have a relationship with your minister or your pastor, go find somebody who you trust, who is in alignment with your beliefs, and work it out. And every now and then there are plant medicines that can help. We do have chemical problems every now and then that really do disconnect. I've talked a little bit about going through menopause and all of the wonderful experiences that this is bringing me. It's not wonderful. It's the most horrible thing that I've ever gone through. And yet I've been able to talk it out with people and learn and understand and take different things that help balance my body. So, as much as I tell you, just choose love, well, sometimes you need help in choosing love and you
Mhm.
need help letting go of the past.
Mhm.
No, I'm not plugging my services right now. I'm actually trying to plug you to find your love. All right. So Kim just told me we're out of time. I greatly appreciate you being here this morning. And next week, we're gonna do some meditations.
Yes, I.
And we're going to add in how to keep a little bit more of a balance within ourselves because the happier that we are, so is the planet. So, in saying all this, I wish you a fantastic Uber now moment wherever you are and just being you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here. Bye-bye.